Vinyasa 8, meditation, the auric field. Lie comfortably, with your palms facing up, your feet slightly apart. Relax your shoulders, let them melt to the floor. Relax your hips, relax your abdomen and your diaphragm. Breathe evenly, smoothly, calmly. Relax your arms and legs. Relax your elbows and knees. Relax your thighs. Allow your fingers and your hands to relax. Relax your feet and toes. Let the muscles in your face relax. Your eyebrows, your eyes, your forehead, your jaw, your cheekbones, your ears, behind your head. Relax your shoulders. Relax your upper back, your mid back, and your lower spine. Allow every part of your body to melt and relax completely. Notice all of your atoms in your body buzzing from your Vinyasa class for the 8th chakra. And we'll turn our awareness to our journey through the chakras. We've travelled all the way from the root chakra to the crown and the auric field. As components of a comprehensive biopsychic energy system, chakras don't function by themselves, but as wheels or gears in a larger machine. The machine being the human body-mind. The purpose of studying the wheels is so that we can know how they fit together, so that we know how to troubleshoot when something goes wrong. With any use of the chakra system, whether it's for therapy, personal growth, or medical diagnosis, the system must be considered as a whole. To diagnose yourself as having a 3rd chakra malfunction without examining the part each chakra plays in the total structure of your personality would be a mistake. Any block that affects one part of the system will affect others. The fundamental theory of the chakra system is that the chakras need to be in balance with each other. Ideally, there should be an even flow of energy through all of the chakras, neither favouring nor avoiding any particular one. Any imbalance in one end of the system is likely to create an imbalance in the other. The first thing to consider in examining any particular set of chakras is that each person has their own energy system with its own particular flavour and quantity of flow. You've climbed all the way up the chakras, practicing from the root to the crown and the auric field. Pure consciousness, which enters the individual from the vast field of the supramental plane as Purusha, condenses through the chakras as it falls downward to the plane of manifestation. Having climbed to the top to embrace Shiva, Shakti descends through the chakras by first entering the mind and senses, then the 5 elements of finite matter. When she reaches the final plane of earth, there is nothing left for her to do, and she rests, becoming the coiled and dormant form of Kundalini Shakti. In the journey upwards, we use the chakras as stepping stones to our liberation, each step granting us more freedom from limited forms, repetitive habits, and worldly attachments. Each step expanded our consciousness and our horizons. In the downward current, the chakras become condensers of the force of consciousness, organizing its energy for exchange on the various planes associated with each level. In the descent of consciousness, the chakras are analogous to pools that collect rainfall as it descends from heaven and runs down the mountains to the sea. Where there is a cavity, water collects in pools and can be used. Like pools, the chakras are chambers on the subtle body that allow the divine consciousness to collect and condense into progressively denser planes of manifestation. If a chakra is blocked, it's limited in the amount of energy it can gather. This analogy also describes the different concepts of unity that can be understood at both ends of the spectrum. As the rain falls from heaven in a cloud of droplets, it's like a unified field of moisture. As it falls to earth, it breaks up into millions of tiny rivulets, which become larger but less numerous as thousands of little streams and hundreds of even bigger tributaries and tens of wide rivers to a huge and single sea. The raindrops then rest in a unified body of water until they rise again to heaven as tiny droplets of evaporation. Each step downward creates something larger and coarser, yet moves towards simplicity and singularity. So we begin our journey downward from pure consciousness, a field of non-dimensionality that in its highest state is complete and unwavering. Transcendent consciousness has risen past the ups and downs of differentiation until it is utterly smooth without ripples or fluctuations. As soon as that consciousness begins to descend, however, we have a wave that fluctuates outwards, a tiny point of awareness standing out against the void. This fluctuation is the first focus of consciousness, the first dawning of any existence. As we focus our attention, waves of awareness emanate outward, forming tiny fluctuations in the fabric of space-time. These fluctuations are not isolated events, but stimulate the creation of other waves, which propagate more waves. As they cross, these waves form interference patterns, and the ethereal emanations of consciousness become more dense. The holographic principle in Chakra 6 is an example of this interference pattern. At each crossing of the wave is a node that draws awareness. This is the level of Chakra 6. Raw information begins to have an image, something that consciousness can recognize or re-know. Consciousness is now feeding back on itself. It perceives this image, reacts to it, maybe alters it. The information is beginning to manifest, but at this stage, it's just a well-formed thought. As the mind focuses on these constructed images, it sends out more fluctuations, constructing more interference patterns for consciousness to recognize and react to. The fields become more dense. Waves, now quite numerous, react to each other, generating fields of awareness, fields of fluctuations at varying frequencies or vibrations. Frequencies that are similar tend to harmonize and fall into resonance, deepening their amplitude. Now we're at Chakra 5, where consciousness folds in on itself again. Repeating images are given a name as they take on a particular vibrational quality. A name is a wave function that transports an idea from one mind to another. It can distinguish and delineate differences in our field of interference, drawing a border around them and making them distinct and specific. As we name something, we define it within the world of relationships. At Chakra 4, we find that we perceive order among our named things. There are waves and there are interferences. There are things and there are their relationships. In relationship, there must be balance for something to continue into manifestation. Then we come to Chakra 3 and begin to enter the physical dimension of our bodies. Our fluctuations are becoming more dense, more ordered. We use our will to command raw energy to the shape and form of our intention. This creates a field that is charged with vital energy, a field that can direct and hold the shape of raw materials in accordance with a vision or intention. The vital energy of our life force holds our body together. The vital energy of love holds a relationship together. The vital energy of an idea evokes enthusiasm, which calls forth support from others. We now reach a level of complexity and organization that approaches gravitational force. As energy and will pull random substance together, disparate energies become more dense. As they become more dense, they create their own gravitational field. The rest happens by itself as raw energy gets pulled along the lines set up long ago by the patterns of thought. Gravity pulls on our organized field, curving the fabric of space-time, pulling masses together, causing the movement that provides constant change. This movement seeks to balance difference, seeks to return the composite parts of our field to its initial unity. And finally, through this gravitational force, our fluctuations of constructive interference coalesce, creating mass. We have come to the world of material objects, with weight and volume. We've returned to the earth, one of innumerable masses floating in a sea of stars. When we compare the downward current to the upward current, we find that the pattern is nearly the same. The two ends of the spectrum are remarkably similar. From Chakra 1, we began with an initial unity and moved from that unity into difference. From difference, we moved to choice and to volition, and from volition to a three-dimensional world of space and time full of precisely arranged relationships. From Chakra 7, we began with an initial unity as undifferentiated consciousness. As soon as that consciousness had the slightest fluctuation, the unity was shattered and difference was created. In the naming of thought patterns, volition was exercised, creativity was enacted, and that creativity set to organize its composite elements into precise patterns of relationships. At the physical end of the spectrum, we have substances made of molecules and atoms. When we closely examine them, we learn that atoms are energy fields containing nodes of concentrated energy with large amounts of empty space between them. On examining subatomic particles, we find that they appear more like waves, probabilities among conceptual variations of thought patterns. At the ethereal end of our spectrum, we have consciousness. In its ultimate state, it is undifferentiated, but in actuality, it is a field outside of space-time with minute fluctuations, appearing more like waves, possibilities among conceptual variations of thought patterns. And gently hug in one knee to your chest and hug in the other knee. Rock from side to side a few times. Walk over to one side and then slowly come up. And in your own time, in your own space, gently come back to standing. Namaste.